I just need to play again a little bit of what the president said because it needs some important context, and by that I mean corrections. Listen.
Before the election, they put out numbers that it was like the country was on fire, it was doing so well. And then they did a revision about 2 weeks later, and the revision was down by almost 900,000 jobs. You remember that? And I said, man, I said, what would have happened? What would have happened if I lost? Think of it. I would have said they gave phony numbers and then they revised them a week and a half later.
All right, so that was wrong, wrong, and wrong. All right, November 1st, just before the election, there was a terrible jobs report. Just 12,000 jobs added. That was November 1st, just days before the election. 12,000 jobs added November 1st, almost as bad as the 2 months we just had during the Trump administration, May and June. After the election, the numbers were revised upward. So that's the second wrong. President Trump was wrong that there was a good jobs report before the election, wrong that it was revised upward. Downward, it was revised upward after the election. He's also wrong about the timing of the huge revision. It came last August, where they said that 800,000 fewer jobs had been added in the last year. It wasn't after the election. All of the revisions that were made in theory before the election last year may very well have been in Trump's favor. So wrong, wrong, and wrong there.
In the summer heat, the walk to the soup kitchen gets longer and more tiring, especially with the lack of food. Parents here say they are keeping their children indoors. No play or any movement that could sap the little energy they have. Everyone is exhausted. The choices for children like Jenna are to wait at the back or get squashed at the front.
لو في قال لي حبة عدس تسند بطولنا نقدر نتحرك. عندنا 5 أطفال وأنا السادسة. أنا من امبارح.
She says they haven't eaten since yesterday. Most people here are clamoring for their only meal of the day. The soup kitchen might not be open tomorrow or the day after. It's already serving much less food than months before. And there is no guarantee everyone here would get a serving of soup and carry it back. The blisters and scars tell of how many times boiling soup has burnt these hands, stoking disappointment and frustration among the weakest in the crowd. Returning home with a bowl of lentil soup is an achievement, no matter how small.
أنا رحت علشان خاطر الصغار يأكلوا يعني وأنا معهم. فرحت كانت صعوبة حرق وكانت يعني حرق ورمي حجار وهجوم فبألف عافية عبيت.
We first met Jenna in May when she stepped up to take care of her ailing parents and siblings after an Israeli soldier shot her brother dead. Back then, Israel had just ended a total blockade of Gaza that lasted 2.5 months. Under international pressure, Israel has allowed a trickle of aid that remains out of reach for families like Jenna's, who cannot fight over 8 trucks or afford to buy the looted food. They've grown weaker over the past 2 months, like those around them in Gaza City, where the UN says the famine threshold for acute malnutrition has been reached. And like thousands of children across Gaza, these kids too have visited clinics due to malnutrition several times. Jenna's mother fears for her daughter's life.
كتير وزنها نقص كتير حتى صارت تمشي يعني نتفة بهالثواني تقول لي صارت معي دوخ.
Jenna feels the weight of this responsibility to keep her family alive.
كانت صعبة بقينا نصحى بالجوع وننام بالجوع. كله كانت جوع عمي تقول لي روحي يعني عبي ماي دوبي بدي اشيل سطلين اقع لو قعدت انا من دو اجيب لهم حطب من دو اعبي لهم ماي فيش انا اللي شايلها.